the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, it is my duty to pursue the most environmentally green strategies while increasing the green in Floridians' wallets. As other secretaries have touched, everyone is aware we are in a dire state of financial need. And asking our fellow Floridians to spend an increased amount of money would not only be wrong, but it would hurt our cause more than help it. So, what can we do? We must look to those things that either save us money or create money. Public awareness and job creation. Through these two branches, we can save Florida one palm tree at a time. So, how aware are we? Let's find out. The squiggly light bulb is good. Turning off the faucet when you brush your teeth is great, and when it comes to coal versus natural gas is fantastic. Right? Because it has natural in it. Wrong. Actually, natural gas leaks methane, which is worse when it comes to global warming than the carbon dioxide emissions from burning coal. According to the Australian newspaper, the Daily Mercury, of February 17, 2011, a new study shows that an increased amount of greenhouse gases, such as methane, also increases the intensity of floods. This was witnessed in January of this year in the Australian flood that, according to Canadian news source CTV, submerged 11,900 homes. One of the many ways to protect our natural resources while fostering economic growth is to understand what is actually going on, so that way we can fix them. Teaching adults and children alike to turn off a light when they leave a room can save a household hundreds of dollars a year. Teaching everyone as much as we possibly can about all elements of the environment can save every aspect. What about plastic bottles? Well, plastic is made up of petroleum, or in other words, crude oil. So we're using a resource that, when made, emits chlorofluorocarbons, which go up into the atmosphere and expand the hole in the ozone layer. And we're depleting our water resources. According to ehow.com, if everyone in the United States switched to reusable bottles, we would save $7 billion a year. This money could be invested in things such as capital, like education, to increase economic growth. So, through awareness, we can learn how to go green, and through green jobs, we can make the green. According to WorkforceFlorida.com, green jobs are defined as those jobs that increase the conservation and sustainability of natural resources for the benefit of Floridians. It also listed that these jobs reduce energy usage, lower carbon emissions, protect Florida's natural resources, provide worker-friendly conditions, and pay sustainable wages. According to an article of The Hill from May 5, 2011, President Obama stated that clean energy businesses are the key to new jobs. And according to Green Jobs Florida, there are over 60,000 employers looking to pursue green jobs. If we choose to invest in these environmental jobs, not only will we be helping the environment, but we'll be helping the green industry in Florida, which would decrease our unemployment rate, which is already higher than the national average. In a report by Dr. Robert Poland and the University of Massachusetts Political Economy Research, it was found the new green recovery program, such as Naturescape or anything of that sort, that spends $100 billion over 2 years would create 2 million new jobs. This could also be seen in different sectors, whereas we had talked about solar energy or hydropower, where we'd be employing more people so that way we could have more jobs. According to the Center for American Progress, in 2006, green jobs would have created 123,756 new jobs. So, to recap, save the world, employ more people, and save money. How could we choose any other option? So, awareness helps us understand what we're facing so we can fix the problems that we have, and creating green jobs will help solve our current economic standing. Thus, it is imperative we move to start green jobs and job stimulus programs in that sector, in addition to environmental relation processes. So join me in making this change to protect our natural resources and foster economic growth here, because there's no other ecosystem like the one we have here in Florida, and we can change that, one palm tree at a time.
According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, Americans utilize 2 billion kilowatt hours of energy per day. The National Energy Policy states that energy consumption will far outpace energy production in the next 20 years. With this continuous growth of energy consumption comes the increase of pollution. It is estimated that Americans emit 5,500 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere per year, as well as many other harmful and toxic pollutants. This is clearly negatively affecting our environment. NASA shows us that currently the size of the ozone hole is 9.7 million miles wide, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service states that 609 animals are currently listed as threatened or endangered due to the pollutants we are emitting from our current energy sources, and 744 plants are listed as threatened or endangered as well. Clearly, we need to be able to balance environmental protection and economic growth to fix these problems. Well, I've got the power, literally. As the new Secretary of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, I plan on implementing a new clean, renewable, and cost-effective energy source that will definitely ensure the environmental protection that our state deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present you with solar energy. Solar energy is the radiant light or heat from the sun that humans can harness and able to transform into useful forms of energy, such as electricity. Because we reside in the Sunshine State of Florida, solar energy will be extremely efficient. As the Secretary, I will be implementing two types of solar energy. The first is solar thermal. In solar thermal, solar panels are used, and they trap the heat from the sun, or the energy from the sun, and transform it into heat energy in order to make the water and space heaters in buildings work. The second form of solar energy that I would be implementing is photovoltaic, and this is when photovoltaic cells are used, and they're mainly made out of silicon, and they trap the light from the sun in order to produce electricity. And the light, what it does is it makes the electrons in these cells excited, and it makes the electricity get formed. Now, moreover, there are many different plethora of advantages of using solar energy. First, it's a completely clean energy source, so no greenhouse gases are going to be emitted, and we're going to make sure that the environmental protection is going to be helped. Now, the second advantage that you're going to be getting from solar energy is that it is able to operate silently, so no noise pollution is going to be emitted from using solar energy. And thirdly, it is a renewable energy source, meaning that it can replenish itself over time in comparison with our current energy sources, which are non-renewable. And because it is a renewable energy source, we are going to be able to foster economic growth in our country. Moreover, on that point, it is relatively inexpensive to implement solar energy, and it is relatively cheap once we already have it implemented. It is estimated that the current price of a kilowatt hour when using solar energy is 12 cents, and economists estimate that in a couple of years, this price will nearly be cut in half to 6 cents. Now, these solar panels are going to be on residential homes, schools, and other buildings that are going to need this power. And empirical evidence has shown us that solar energy is able to produce the same amount of energy that the average American uses per year. So clearly we are going to be able to foster this economic growth that we need in our country. Now, solar energy is extremely accepted by Floridians in our country, which is extremely important. If you look to the 2009 Scott Solar Barometer, you can see that 77% of Floridians believe that solar energy is a good energy source to have in our state. And although people know that there is global warming and the temperature is increasing, this is only going to help solar energy because we are going to be able to trap more heat and more light and produce more energy and just help foster more economic growth. So in conclusion, the state of Florida needs a pure, reliable, accessible, and renewable energy source, and solar energy is going to give us this power to enable us to balance economic growth and environmental protection. Thank you.
It's quite obvious that our country is currently trying to balance both environmental protection and economic growth. This is key in ensuring that our future will be bright, meaning all the steps we must take need to be sustainable. It would be beneficial for all of us to reduce our carbon footprint and focus on clean, energy efficient, and most importantly, renewable energy sources. If I were appointed Secretary of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, this is exactly what I'd focus on. In order to help protect our natural resources while fostering economic growth, I would focus on two main energy sources that would harness resources found abundantly here in Florida. Specifically, I would invest in hydroelectric power and solar power. These energy sources would cost a few hundreds of thousands of dollars for initial construction and installment fees. However, once these costs are taken care of, these energy sources would not produce any negative externalities, would last for a lifetime, and are an extremely positive investment in the future. It's essentially like buying a lottery ticket and then winning. But with renewable energy sources, your chances of winning are 100%. Keeping in mind the state's current economic conditions, renewable energy sources are a necessity. Currently, our country is feeling the heat from climate change, and a major anthropogenic cause of this is the change in greenhouse gas concentrations. This change is caused by our excessive usage and reliance on fossil fuels, such as coal, natural gas, oil, etc. These gases are then absorbed by atmospheric greenhouse gases, which are re-radiated. Then, since part of this re-radiation is back towards Earth, the surface and lower atmosphere of Earth have energy transferred to them, making the temperature hotter than they would be if direct heating by solar radiation were the only warming mechanism. Global warming affects humans, plants, and animals both on land and in the ocean. We need an easily adaptable plan that will mitigate all of these problems. The following energy sources will do just that. Hydroelectric power is the production of electrical energy through the gravitational force of falling water. It's the most widely used form of renewable energy. Its major advantage is that it's immune to increase in costs of fuel, and also imports are not needed. It's a great energy source for Florida because Florida is a peninsula, has 3 major rivers and 2 major lakes. It's also great for Florida because it helps to support one of its main industries, which is agriculture, by controlling flooding and making it so that there's a steady flow of water by using dams. Solar power is the production of energy either directly using photovoltaics or indirectly using concentrated solar power. Its advantages include that it's free, versatile, non-polluting, requires little maintenance, and also that it can be set up in remote locations. Solar power is also great for Florida, being the Sunshine State. A major advantage of both of these energy sources is that they will positively affect the air quality. Currently, fossil fuels emit tons of pollutants into our atmosphere, which can create harms such as photochemical smog. This can lead to thermal invasions, respiratory issues in organisms, and acid rain, which can destroy aquatic ecosystems, forests, etc. Also, hydroelectric power and solar power can help to conserve water and the quality of it. Currently, in fossil fuel power plants, cooling towers must utilize hundreds of thousands of gallons of water each week, which they are notorious for dumping into the ocean once they are done. Also, to recover fossil fuels, companies usually drill in sensitive biomes such as the tundra, and this drilling can also pollute groundwater. Hydroelectric power and solar power would not waste water and will actually protect it. In summary, hydroelectric power and solar power will be able to balance both environmental protection and economic growth. Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "A country that destroys its soil destroys itself." This clearly shows that we must protect our environment and we must foster economic growth because they go hand in hand. Thank you.